You are listening to Armchair Healthcare, a podcast on pills, placebos, and policy.
Welcome to Armchair Healthcare. How are you doing this week, Max?
Pretty good. It's actually a pretty busy week. There was a piece of news today on Solid Biosciences, which had gone public at the beginning of last year. And it is a gene therapy company working on Duchenne muscular dystrophy. It was relatively infamous for kind of having a little bit of a shenanigan with their prospectus disclosures. They initially, in their first version of their prospectus, they didn't announce that they had a partial clinical hold because of safety issues. That was issued by the FDA. And then they amended it later to say, oh yeah, we've had a partial clinical hold since like November. We didn't tell you before. We're telling you now.
Oh, yeah.
So the investment bankers...
Our stuff kills people.
Well...
or might kill people.
Yeah. It still went public. They got like a... $600 million valuation.
I know.
They have their investment banker, CEO. I believe a bunch of the scientists left because, the embarrassment and the kind of dirtiness of it. But anyway, they released some data and their stuff doesn't seem to really work. So I think they're down 70% today.
Yeah.
But all the signs were there. Like when a company is... not necessarily trustworthy with their disclosure, might not want to trust them.
When literally everyone with any credibility in the company is like, that's it, I'm out of here. I'm ditching this company. I'm not want to be a part of it anymore. And all you have left is the financial engineers. It's time to pack it up.
So it's been a bit of a double whammy.
It's been a rough day.
And then also it's just a down day on the markets anyway because of, I don't know, I think the usual China trade dispute headlines have gone from positive to negative as they seem to do on a regular basis. But so on a lighter note, Pain Therapeutics, a couple days ago, they announced feedback from their recent meeting with the FDA on Ramoxi, which is their abuse deterrent opioid.
Yes, it was a fun one. This is seldom are biotech press releases actually fun. I feel like this one was as fun as it gets.
It was pretty fun. I mean, it almost reads like the lawyers made them take out the swears. This was an angrily written press release. They actually referred to FDA regulations as shambolic.
Shambolic, which is word of the week, everyone. Shambolic.
Yes.
Try to fit it into a sentence.
Yes. And they said other stuff like the FDA denies making math errors.
I know that's pretty big to say. Like they just are dumb. FDA is just dumb. They miscalculated our results. We tried to explain it to them, but they're just too dumb to get it.
Yeah, and then they also said that they would need to. The FDA told them that they would need to rely on the Freedom of Information Act to access additional data generated by FDA with Ramoxi. So I mean. Just so you know, the history is this drug has been before the FDA for about 10 years, a little more than 10 years now. So at this point, I think the FDA is just like pissed. They want Pain Therapeutics to just go away already. So they're like, oh, you want us to give you data on our own experiments on Ramoxi? Well, you got to FOIA it. We're not just going to give it to you.
Well, I actually have a Freedom of Information Act request. I think it's maybe still outstanding. I don't know. Maybe I'll get it one day with the pain division at the FDA. And let me just say, I don't think it's in your professional best interest to yell at the FDA about stuff or try to embarrass them or, really fight them on this sort of crap because they're going to do what they're going to do. But I feel the pain. I feel the Pain Therapeutics. Because the pain division at the FDA is just such a freaking nightmare. They're just so difficult. They never approve anything except for opiates. They just approved a new opiate, like the strongest opiate ever, just a little while ago. But anything else, no. Even if it's something that might prevent people from abusing drugs. It doesn't really matter. And we can argue about whether these guys had good technology or not. But the thing is, there's plenty of opiates that have no abuse deterrent properties that are just out there on the market right now, and they don't seem to have any problem with that. But I actually have a Freedom of Information Act request that is out there in the wind that I filed in, I think, 2015, 2014. It was after, so when Purdue Pharma came out with their quote-unquote abuse deterrent OxyContin, they were required to do post-marketing studies to show that it actually was preventing abuse. And this was before any sort of abuse deterrent guidelines or anything else like that. They came under a lot of criticism. They came out with a new formulation. The FDA was like, okay, that's great. We will not ever approve any other sort of long-acting oxycodone derivative, but you got to do these extra studies, right? They proceeded to reject every sort of application for any sort of other abuse deterrent oxycodone, including Ramoxi. And years later, when the Purdue submitted their package on these post-marketing studies, and the day before they were supposed to be presented, like in an AdCom, the FDA said, no, you don't actually have to do that. It's not necessary. And it just all disappeared. And so no one knows what was in those studies, what the results were, what Purdue gave to the FDA. But they gave it to the FDA. It was filed. And so I was like, I want to see it, right? Freedom of information, man. Show it to me. I first just requested and said, are you guys going to post it? And said, no, never. And I said, okay, can you send it to me? Like, no, you have to file a freedom of information request. So I did, and I'm still sitting around waiting for it.
Yeah, good luck with that. I mean, you know what it says. It basically says that their abuse deterrent drug probably doesn't have actual deterrent properties, or it's very minimal.
Yes.
I mean, and that's the problem with Ramoxi as well. I mean, if you just like crush it up and I think like snort it or something, you got almost as high as whatever, like the immediate release formulation. So it was sort of like, so like at the panel for Ramoxi, they were sort of like, what's the point? I'm like, is this abuse deterrent? Not really, not in real life. Because you could still abuse it.
Even the Purdue one, I think some studies that have been done after the fact show that people will stop chewing up Oxy or stop injecting it or something like that. And you see a little bit of a dip in people using it, but then you see it pick up on other drugs. So they just find Percocets. They go out and get Percocets and eat those instead, and then get liver damage because of the acetaminophen.
Yeah, or they go to Subsys, fentanyl spray. It could be better.
Yeah, it just sort of shifts around. It's not really the best way of addressing an epidemic, but that's a different discussion.
Yeah, it is. So, speaking of attacking the FDA for is not necessarily wise. I did see, I didn't print it out though. So VNDA, I believe, is suing the FDA because they think that the preclinical studies that the FDA is requiring them to do on whatever medication will kill too many dogs, and they think that's cruel.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. I don't get it. I mean, just do what they ask. I mean, it's one of those things too, but maybe a person at the FDA was like, I see a little bit of a safety signal here. I just want you to run out the trial a little bit longer. That's perfectly okay for them to do. They can say, yeah, I think I want 6-month dog data. 3 months is enough. I'm seeing a little bit of a safety signal here. Just want to see how it shapes up. It's perfectly reasonable. It doesn't matter what they've asked anyone else to do. You can't be like, oh, it's not fair. That's not like the statutory amount. And like, no, they have complete power to just, throw your whole drug in the garbage based on any data they feel like. Yes. They are the rulers of this little fiefdom. So,
and it's always better to see the problem in dogs rather than people.
I also feel that that VNDA is using dogs as like a way to get out of it, because people would actually feel for these dogs.
Yeah,
as opposed to like a pig. Like, I don't really care that much.
Or a rhesus monkey.
You should feel for pigs. Pigs are smarter than dogs.
Yeah, but dogs are cuter, and like there's all those movies that have been coming out recently, like whatever, like Find a Way Home and A Dog's Purpose that are just like reminds you that, oh, dogs are so cute and lovable.
Oh, they are lovable. But have you ever seen a teacup pig? Oh my God, they're so cute.
I don't know. It just looks like
Everyone just go and Google these things. Just Google eggs and teacups and stuff like that. Just little tiny piglets. They're very, very cute.
I'm sure, but puppies are cuter. Nothing's as cute as a puppy.
I think there's plenty of things that are really cute out there. You'd be really surprised.
Cuter than a puppy?
Nat likes goats.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Goats are adorable as little babies.
Well, you like goats of all ages.
I do like goats of all ages. They have really nice personalities, except for the boys. And
it's only half the population.
They have the type of horns that I'm looking for. And yeah, everyone is happy when they're around goats.
I don't know if everyone's happy when they're around goats. Goats kind of smell.
No, you put a goat with a horse before a big horse race to keep the horse calm, because he's like, well, okay, I can't be too upset right now. There's a goat here.
Yeah. And you're totally demographic for goat yoga.
For goat yoga, yeah, that'd be pretty nice. Except I don't do yoga because I'm not.
You're not flexible.
I'm not like that. I'm not very flexible at all.
Oh, and speaking of something that you don't like, so there was some data, because you've said previously how you don't like doctors or you think doctors are paid too much.
No, I did not say that. I didn't say I don't like doctors.
Brianna,
at least I haven't said that on the air. I haven't said that on the.
Yes, you did. Yeah, we had this discussion on the air.
You think they're paid too much?
I think there are. If I remember correctly, what I said, and I quote, is you cannot talk about the cost of delivering healthcare without talking about how much doctors are getting paid. Right? That's pretty egalitarian. And the fact is, lots of doctors are paid lots. There's plenty of doctors out there doing out of the goodness of their heart. They're only getting paid like a real low 6 figures, right? But there's other ones out there that are getting paid 7.
Yeah,
right?
but
And up. I mean, there's some that are making.
But the people who are making 7 figures are the ones who own private practices, and that money is getting put back into their business. It's the same thing as a business.
Okay, some doctors get paid a whole lot. A whole lot.
Yeah, of course they do. And a lot of times they're surgeons because they do a lot of surgeries and they might work from like 6 a.m. to midnight, a few days a week.
All I'm saying is this is an aspect of the cost of healthcare that nobody wants to talk about. Obviously, because every time I bring it up, you guys jump down my back.
Because I just don't agree.
Yeah, and anyway, so there's data. So there was a study that was they looked at hospital-based procedures and the change in cost from 2007 to 2014.
Okay.
And so in terms of the physician price for cesarean sections, for example, the CAGR was 0.8%. For knee replacement, it was 0.6%. Colonoscopy was at the high end with like 4.3% per year. But then if you looked at like the facility price, so the amount the hospital charges, those growth rates all were between like 3.5 and 5.6%. And if you look at the facility component of the total change in price for all these various procedures, they represent between three quarters and like 97% of the total change in cost.
Yes.
So it's not really the doctors, it's the hospitals.
All right, so I have several things. First off, you don't talk about the baselines. You just talk about the increase in those different amounts. Maybe the doctors are still a larger fraction of the costs.
No, actually, they're not. I looked at the graphs. I didn't print them out, but like doctors were, I don't know, just eyeballing it. I think they were probably like 10 to 20% of the cost. I mean, the facility cost is the big charge.
Okay, so this goes back to one of my other favorite points about the medical system is that literally everyone is screwing everyone else, right? So the doctors are screwing the patients. That's okay. It's okay. We can just say that, guys. The doctors are screwing the patients out of tons of money. The facilities are screwing the patients out of tons of money. The facilities are also screwing the doctors
how is the patient
out of their
getting-
lives because they make them work like
How are
ridiculous
the patients
hours.
getting screwed out of money?
The patients are getting screwed like crazy.
They get screwed the least because they have someone else paying the
Yeah,
bill
okay,
and they're getting the
fair.
benefit.
Everyone is screwing the insurance agencies, and the insurance agencies are screwing the patients.
Is it insurance or insurance?
It doesn't matter. Everyone is screwing everyone else absolutely as much as possible. It's just a giant cash grab because it's like, this is going to happen. You're going to go and you're going to get your procedure. There's nothing that's going to stop that. We're going to basically, every single part of this system is engineered to make absolutely as much money off of that as possible.
So it's a giant episode of Bachelor in Paradise or Rock of Love Bus or Bachelor Pad.
I do not follow the reference. I have no idea what you're talking
These
about.
are just reality shows where they put a bunch of people like together and like, look, they're having fun.
This is not, what I'm trying to say is the medical system is not Rock of Love. Yes, that was the point I was making.
No, not Rock of Love. Rock of Love Bus, the offshoot show.
Yeah, it's not even close to that much fun.
Anyway, so once again, though, just want to say, doctor's good, not wrong.
That's good, not wrong.
Agreed.
All right.
See, it's,
All right,
it's a democracy.
all right.
We win. Anyway, we have so much talked about that's fun. So one thing that you guys pointed out to me that there was the human charger product.
The human charger, yes.
Yes, it shines a light into your ears for reasons.
And shout out to the Sawbones podcast, which everyone should listen to if you're interested in medical stuff, because they're the ones that actually turned me onto this. But they found this when they were reviewing a New York Times article about wellness. And one of the wellness gurus that they profiled in this used the human charger. And so, yes, explain what the human charger does, Max.
No, literally, it shines light into your ears.
For what purpose?
Well,
to charge your brain with light?
No, it's like they claim a lot of things. They actually did do a study, a randomized placebo-controlled trial in jet lag. So, unfortunately, jet lag is not a permanent condition, so it does go away by itself. So it's really hard to, their data kind of was like a little bit all over the place. And, you can guess that over time, the differences between placebo and treatment, weren't that great. So, yeah, they believe that there's something in the ear that responds to this intracranial light and it makes you, I don't know,
Does it give
happier.
you energy? Does it wake you up?
It's photosynthesis.
So anyway, in the study, it says that transcranial bright light via the ear canals has been shown to have antidepressant, anxiolytic, and psychomotor performance-enhancing effects.
There you go. That settles it.
It does everything.
A light bulb in your ear, everyone. That is the definition of wellness.
Shine a light on your brain. So, just open it up and put like a big UV lamp shining on your brain, make you feel better. Actually, don't do that.
Yeah, it's probably a bad idea.
I think it's a bad idea.
I mean, there's what do you call it? Your pineal gland is in there, and like, I think maybe the pineal gland maybe responds to light because it's from like your reptilian version of it. Like it literally is just like light sensitive. Now maybe your worm version of the pineal gland is just a light sensitive cluster of neurons. So it has like there's an idea here. As with many of these sort of quackery things, there's like an idea here that it came from science, and then they just market some garbage.
But what about like seasonal depressive disorder?
That's what it's for. It should be great for that, because in the wintertime you don't have enough light going in through your ears.
Right.
But isn't that like because of vitamin D deficiency or something? Doesn't that add to that seasonal depression disorder?
It could be totally psychosomatic. I have no idea. I don't know which one it is.
Well, I mean, like when you see sun, you are a little bit happier. I mean,
Definitely.
yeah.
All right. You guys want to know a cool fact?
Sure.
Some species of lizard have a vestigial third eye immediately on the top of their head that has a few photoreceptive neurons in it that sends a little signal directly to the pineal gland. They think it's so like if a bird flies over them, they have that shadow sense. And they're like, oh, scurry away. But look it up. They have a vestigial little third eye. It's a little tiny spot. You can actually see it on like iguanas and stuff. It's pretty neat. Iguanas have a third eye. You heard it here first.
Okay. I'm not a huge fan of lizards either.
What type of animals do you like, Max?
I like puppies. Puppies and
Oh, yeah, we
kittens.
already established this. Do you like kittens?
Yes, of course. I had a dog and a cat
Aw.
when I was growing up.
This is some basic. This
You know,
is some real basic animal love.
I like nice furry animals. Like, rabbits, deer I think are cute.
You like all this-
otters and stuff.
The stuff from like the Disney movies.
Pretty much.
That's your favorite stuff. Great.
Yeah, because like they're cute and fluffy. I mean, what's not to like? Oh yeah, I want to have something that's like cold, scaly, and like the tail could fall off if I grab it.
Yeah, I don't really understand that either. I like goats. I don't like iguanas or lizards or snakes.
Oh, snakes. Bleh.
They're kind of gross.
They're really gross. Since we were just talking about the human charger, I think we should talk about another idea that people have had, which is keto pills. So they want to put ketones into pills so that you will go into ketosis and use that for a variety of different diseases.
Wait, so what are some positive effects besides weight loss? Because I know everyone's on this like keto diet now, but what are other health benefits of it?
Well,
they're supposed to be like anti-inflammatory properties, which is generally good for you.
yeah, it makes your brain work a bit different.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of weird things it does to your brain. And they know it prevents epileptic seizures just because.
Oh.
I'm not sure the exact reason, but like it does. And that's how they developed the original ketogenic diet.
Yeah, and there was some company that was trying to use, I believe, ketones for Alzheimer's. That didn't work.
Yeah, I don't know about
But
that.
they basically just gave people like palm oil. So that didn't really work. But I mean, I'm just wondering, like, okay, keto in a pill? Like, are we getting so lazy? We want this magic pill that will just solve all our problems so that we don't actually have to try. We don't have to go on a diet. We can still eat what we want. We just have to take this magic keto pill.
Well, yes,
we'll lose
everyone
the
wants a
weight.
magic pill that'll just fix all
Yeah,
their
but-
problems.
yeah,
That's like the whole purpose of the drug industry, Max.
Yeah, but that's not how it really works.
No,
It's never how it works.
You're like an after-school special. Of course it isn't. But you can sell that shit with that image.
Yeah, no, I know. And so, like, you have this, like, there's actually a VC-funded company, BHB Therapeutics, that's looking into this thing, keto pills. I mean, right now, by the way, you can buy keto pills on Amazon for not that much money. So there's not like composition of matter. I mean, unless they come up with some sort of medicine where, they're not just giving you exogenous ketones, they're, getting your body into ketosis through some other mechanism of action. But I would just say I would be scared to death of the safety issues that would come up in anything like that, because it's going to be complicated.
Yeah, I mean, because when you go into a dietary form of ketosis, it tends to be still pretty well regulated and you tend to be okay. But there are other forms of ketosis, like when you're a diabetic, that can be quite dangerous and we should probably avoid.
Oh, yeah, we can give people diabetes. At least they'll be in ketosis.
Yep, that'll happen.
So on Amazon, you can get a 60 count bottle of keto pills for $18.95.
Yeah.
That's not that bad.
No.
Yeah, so this will
I
be
mean,
another...
you might just eat a little fat too. I mean, it's still not going to really do anything. It's just adding to the amount of calories that you're taking in the day, really. I mean, imagine the number of ketones you'd have to do to like get above and beyond just the amount that you will get from not eating as much sugar.
Yeah. Guys, just do the diet. The diet's good. It's tasty. You eat full fat food all the time. It's awesome.
Right. So full disclaimer, Max is on a ketogenic diet.
Ketogenic-like diet. I mean, it's but it's really nice. You basically it's like it's a rich diet. You just don't eat like the Reese's Pieces.
Anything good, basically.
No, just not this sugary stuff that's really bad for you. But like, steak, eggs. I had a really nice salad at Dylan Parsley today.
Oh, shout out to Dylan Parsley.
Yeah, look, I had some lamb.
We're
and
fans
kale
here on
and
the show.
beets and stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
and Nat just got like a 10-pound delivery of beets, and God knows what he's gonna do with it.
That's not ketogenic. Beets are not ketogenic.
No,
They're
you're
not so
supposed to
great.
stay away from root vegetables. You were keto at some point now.
Yeah, I was keto for years. I liked it, but I'm not right now. I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Anyway, moving on to the next subject. So we'll go a little serious. So, Gilead bought KITE. What was it, about a year ago?
Yeah, it seems like longer than that.
Yeah, but it was like a year ago. So they just took a $820 million impairment charge on that. I think that means they have like...
Was it 2 years ago?
Several billion to go.
It was like 2017, right?
It might have been at the end. I don't remember when it got completed and when it got announced. And well, I remember in March. I think March was when the Series A for Allogene from Ari, the CEO of KITE. That's, I think, when that got launched. So I would assume it was like, probably 2017 was the acquisition. So Gilead has to write that down because guess what? You can't get the economics to work. I mean, look, it's a drug. It's approved. Their CAR T therapies selling, I think, like 320 million annualized. That's pretty good. But you can't get to $12 billion in value.
They had to. They ditched the BCMA. Yeah. Well, also, that's a bad sign, guys. I'm just gonna say right now, that's a bad sign. I had high hopes for the BCMA. I mean, I guess maybe the other ones could be better.
Yeah, it's a competitive area.
Yeah, because like everyone and their cousins got one of these now. But I don't. It could just not work very well either. It could be like not the greatest target. I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the others do. I mean, look,
the optimistic way of looking at it is that they have a BCMA BITE that maybe is doing really well. I don't know.
I mean, one issue that we always had with the KITE acquisition is just, there's not like everyone has a CAR T. Like the intellectual property that people have doesn't seem to be very restrictive on competitors. So like, okay, you'll have a drug, but how long before 50 million people are going after the same target? I mean, what is your competitive advantage period here? I don't think it's going to be very long. And you're never going to be able to get that huge number of patients on this thing.
Well,
I mean, it's just too
maybe there's enough art in like designing one of these things that somebody can have a good BCMA CAR T, somebody can have a bad one. My take before this is that basically if you can get it to engage, right, they're all basically the same. Like if they all bind with a similar binding affinity somewhere in like, I don't know, single digit nanomolar, then the receptor, then you should be off to the races. It doesn't really matter. Like the rest of the details really matter that much because you just got to get that T cell on it and kill it. Boom, that's it. But maybe this is pointing to a little bit more variability, or maybe it's pointing to the fact that all BCMAs are just crappy.
I don't know.
Time will tell.
Yeah, we will find out.
And we will report it here on Armchair Healthcare.
Yes. So in other news, like the other day, this company, AMRS, I don't know, AMRS, was up 80% on a deal. It looked like they're a fermentation company. It sounded like they made a deal to try to manufacture cannabinoids in their little system. So they were up 80%, but it wasn't actually a signed deal. It was a binding letter of intent, whatever that actually means. I mean, is there a breakup fee on that binding letter of intent? How much is it? So anyway, like the partner was undisclosed. The upfront was undisclosed. All you know, it was like 225 million pot bucks. So at some point you might get 225 if you're successful, but you don't know what the the actual upfront economics were. But like they still went up 80%, and this wasn't a $50 million company. It was like a $400-something million company. So
I know, like pot bucks are still good, I think, on the stock market. Like everything's going down, but you still see these pot companies pop like gangbusters just on nothing. There's no information here. Like we don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, and
they're making cannabinoids, I guess, in a lab, maybe.
Yeah, you don't know where they are in terms of like their ability to do so. And again, why would they release this information? why would you release that you have a deal almost? Like, wouldn't you want to wait till you have the deal signed before you got everyone's hopes up and all that stuff? Because, I mean, these things do fall apart at the last minute all the time. We just never hear about it. But, like, you know, for anyone who's ever been involved in these kinds of transactions in the past, they can just go away. And it could just be like the wind came from the wrong direction. It can be like for really minor items. So I don't know why they would do this other than just to pump the stock price.
Yeah, they got to pay back all their debt somehow.
Yeah, they have a humongous amount of. I don't know how this company racked up so much debt, and they have like I don't know why they have like loans from Brazil and all this other stuff going on.
From Brazil. Well, they do something sugarcane, right? So I guess Brazilian government is very pro sugarcane.
I don't know. Do they have sugarcane there? I thought it was
I
more
think
a
they got
Caribbean
gobs
thing.
of it. Well, yes, if you're like a colonialist in like 1600, yes, you're growing sugarcane in the Caribbean. But I believe tons of sugarcane is grown in Brazil.
Okay. So, but
they put a whole bunch of ethanol, like very pro ethanol there, and actually it's better for the environment there because it's not made out of corn; it's made out of sugarcane, which has better yields.
So when I was referring to the Caribbean, that was more like, you know, during the era when the scurvy pirates were helping keep the autism rates down.
Yes, that's right. Right, and so everything's tied together. The decline in the rise in Brazilian sugarcane is tied to the decline in scurvy pirates, which is tied to the rise in autism.
Yes.
So
yeah, and then there was actually an article about, we were talking last week about the measles outbreak in the Upper Northwest. There was an article about that, I believe today. Just how big it's gotten, and it's just kind of, it's scary. Like, I think like at least 10% of the kids in like Idaho, for example, aren't vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you know, do you want these kids anywhere near your kids? I mean, it's just.
What's interesting to me is that the whole anti-vax thing has spread into different sort of ideological segments of the population. I feel like initially it was like a granola munching hippie thing where people were worried about big pharma conspiracies and big business. It was sort of an anti-big business thing. And now there's a lot of really conservative people that are anti-vax, like that are homeschooling their kids in Idaho. It's kind of shifted, and I don't know exactly why. A lot of the essential oils crowd, not so much the incense crowd.
The essential oils crowd.
Yeah,
I don't know what
different demographic.
I don't know what essential oils is referring to.
This is the same one I was talking about. Just sort of Midwest conservative, homeschool your kids.
No, but I mean Idaho. I think there's hipsters there too, because
there's definitely hipsters in Boise.
Yeah,
I've been to
exactly.
Boise
I don't know if it's centered around Boise or not.
But the rest of the state is like so ridiculously conservative. It's like super duper conservative.
Well,
but everyone's really. I don't want to say anything about people from Idaho because they're so nice. Everyone from Idaho that I've met, so nice.
But you could say that about every single state in the Pacific Northwest, which is you know, in the big cities, it's full of hipsters who are not vaccinating their kids. And then, like, you know, the rest of the state is relatively conservative. You can say that about Washington State.
What I'm saying is,
about Oregon.
I'm saying is the whole anti-vax thing has seeped into the rest of the states and outside the cities.
No, it's true.
And the hipsters.
But I think it's centered around, like, I mean, you still have, Joe Kennedy III or whatever is, like, kind of like the big cheerleader for it.
Well, his brain's rotted. I don't know.
From all the drinking or something?
I don't know. What, because he's Irish, Max? Are you being racist?
No, it's because he's a Kennedy.
Okay.
You know, like, I'm going to have a little car crash. I'm going to let the girl drown for 2 hours and not do anything, but I'll call my lawyer first.
Yeah, okay. That's different Kennedy. You're confusing your Kennedys again. Anyway.
No, I'm not. That's all the Kennedys. I mean, they were gangsters, and then, like, they became senators, and do you think they really changed?
All right, we're going to cut this part.
No,
anyway,
we're
cutting
not,
this part. Cutting this part. Cutting this part too political, Max. We're trying to keep it just focused on...
I talked about Palin and Herman Cain last time. You kept it in last time, so you need to keep Kennedys in this time.
Well, the Herman Cain thing is like objectively hilarious.
Well, the Kennedys being a bunch of drunks is kind of hilarious too.
That's not super hilarious.
Oh yeah, it is when you see them falling down.
Well, obviously, I'm the one that is the good judge of humor on this show
Oh,
because
yeah,
I'm the
obviously.
funny one.
You're the funny one who hates doctors.
I'm Abbott and you're Costello, or you're Costello and I'm Abbott. I don't know.
By body type or
Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
so you can guess which one, guys,
Don't
based
even
on
go
that
there.
answer. Anyway, so one other interesting. There were actually a few press releases on FDA communications. So another one that I didn't mention before was AMPE from Ampion. So if you remember, AMPE is basically albumin for arthritis. So the company went before the FDA to talk about an SPA, which is Special Protocol Assessment, so that they can use kind of spatial endpoints in their trial. And it sounds like they did not have any sort of agreement with the FDA. I am happy with this company for not just saying that it was a positive meeting. They were basically like, "Oh, we received a bunch of questions from them. We're going to answer them, and we'll see what happens." But you know, this is like, it's literally like giving you a placebo for your arthritis.
Yeah, albumin is the most by weight, the most common single protein in the body, right? It's like the stuff that makes blood sort of, well, if it sets a lot of the properties of blood, makes it kind of slippy. And yeah, so you could just take some of your blood, spin it down, shoot some plasma in there, which is the thing that people do for their arthritis, and you get something similar.
Liquid hot plasma.
Liquid hot plasma.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, this product has in the past, I believe, failed in trials versus saline. So
Well, to keep in mind that most things that you inject into your knee for osteoarthritis have just the worst data, even the ones that things are used on the market, like visco supplementation. The data is just not very good. So I guess they figured that, hey, the bar's set really low, because it is. So
Yes.
nothing works.
Well, speaking of the bar being set low, so not a company. There was a publication that mentioned an Alzheimer's diagnostic that predicted the amyloid beta positive status of patients with 78% sensitivity and 77% specificity.
And okay, those are numbers that are above 50.
Yeah, 50 basically means nothing. That's a coin flip. So, like, you know, a chicken could do it. So this is like basically halfway. It's not awesome, but so there'll be a lot of false positives. You're gonna have a lot more, maybe extra MRIs, whatever.
Well, what is it testing for?
There's like some proteins.
It says testing for some proteins in your blood or something.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't print out the study, but
Well, there's a question here, which is that what is the benefit? I mean, if you test these people and they get a positive or negative, what is the benefit to them for having had taken this?
so you can go on generic Aricept
I guess so.
or something.
They're just gonna get an MRI or something, follow it up. That's
Well, yeah. I mean, it's gonna have to be confirmed by MRI, obviously. In theory, it could maybe say like if it
you can
says
catch
you don't-
people extra early or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what they're thinking. You could say catch people extra early, or maybe if this test is a negative, maybe you won't have that extra MRI, which will save the
Given how
something.
crappy those numbers are, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I don't
it's not
really
ready
see
for
it.
prime time yet.
Not ready for being sold to anyone.
Also, I mean, if you remember when Eli Lilly was, they were developing solanezumab for Alzheimer's, which was targeting amyloid beta,
Mm-hmm.
and they were the Expedition trials. So the Expedition 1 and 2 they failed, and they said it was because 25% of the people in the trial for Alzheimer's actually didn't have any plaques, so it's like they didn't have the target.
Well, yeah, we only very recently were able to diagnose people while they were alive with Alzheimer's. I mean, you can diagnose them to say definitively, because the only way before, because it had the same exact symptoms as other dementias was to cut open their brains and look for amyloid plaques. And so relatively recently, we developed some probes that will bind to the plaques, and you can see them on a PET scan. And those give you a definitive read if somebody has Alzheimer's or if they have some other form of dementia, like dementia with Lewy bodies or whatever.
Yeah, no, but that's but my point was just that, okay, so they basically got to 75% specificity with just kind of blind luck, because 25% of the people were false positives. They didn't actually have the plaques. They thought they did, just based on their symptoms, because that's basically, I think, what the inclusion criteria were. You have to have a diagnosis. That diagnosis is based on symptoms. So this test probably doesn't, add any value beyond like the current checklist that doctors use to try to diagnose you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah, I mean,
but maybe they'll improve upon it.
Maybe they'll improve upon it.
But we'll know if we don't know really, though. It's such a mess. The whole science of Alzheimer's. We don't even know if, I don't know, what does amyloid even have to do with Alzheimer's?
Right.
So you find out they're positive. So what?
Anyway, is there anything else?
No, that's it for me.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us. Remember, we are not giving investing advice or medical advice, and just you shouldn't listen to anything that we say. And yeah, I guess that's it for this week.
Great. Thanks, guys.
See you next week.
See you next week. And don't forget to follow us on iTunes or subscribe on iTunes.
Our theme music is by Hazar.